So at the Geraldine R Foundation, I'm working with a group of 6 local sites, and the idea is that they've signed up to basically experiment with us for 2 years, where they're going to let us run a series of experiments related to revenue sustainability and community engagement, with the hope that we can find the right mix for each local site and discover a couple things. One is, what new revenue models might we be able to create and foster in local communities? 2, how can we listen to local communities to make sure that we know that the revenue strategies that we're building are relevant to those communities? And 3, we want to figure out, how do you embed community engagement in a way that's deeply rooted in sustainability? So I think the community engagement piece of what we're trying to do is one of the most important, because no matter what sustainability model you choose or what revenue model you choose, whether it's paywalls or ads or donations or foundations, you have to have a community built around your site. So a lot of what we're trying to work on is actually developing strategies beyond sort of social media community engagement to actually creating news organizations that are hubs for activity, engagement, civic life, discussions, and more in their communities. And what that really means is that we're trying to train news organizations and journalists to think of their work in service to, but also in collaboration with, local communities. And we think that that will not only build community around a site and let people want to support it in whatever way that support looks like, but also that it'll make the site more relevant, more meaningful, and more able to generate action around the news, generate engagement not just with the news, but then in the community writ large. Two sites that leap to mind are ProPublica and the way that they've been doing community engagement, which doesn't always lead directly to the bottom line, which is something that I like. They really think about a broad-based, long-term community building effort. So if you look at the projects that they've run that have really involved deep community engagement, everything from crowdsourcing the recovery reporting that they did around the ERA funding, where they actually had people going out and taking pictures of local projects in their communities, reporting about how the money was being spent, and then pairing that with in-depth reporting from their journalists, all the way through to the health reporting that they've been doing, where they've been asking people to share their own stories about health malpractice issues and patient issues. Throughout all of that, the reporting has benefited from the community, but the community has deeply benefited not just from the reporting, but from the act of convening. And they've connected with other organizations that have been supportive around these issues. They've connected to other patients and people in communities. So you see this community building effort that grows up. And what that's meant is not only better journalism, I think, but also real impact in terms of how these stories affect change in the issues that they're reporting on. And then I think ProPublica would also say we see donations and engagement in terms of actually helping our bottom line, but that's not the main goal for them. I think another one that I look at on the commercial side is the Batavian, who has really positioned himself, Howard Owens has positioned himself as a core central part of that community, whether it be crime, sports, even just photographs of the local community. There's many ways in which he is telling the story and becoming a hub for local businesses, local citizens, and communities to come together around what's happening in their community. And I think because of that, he's also become a hub for local businesses, and you see that supporting his bottom line in terms of getting advertisers. I think there's 3 ways that I would define success over the course of 2 years. I think we can only accomplish so much in 2 years, but I think we can see some starting points. So 1, the 6 pilot sites that we're looking at should be on their road to sustainability, which to me means not just that their books are in better shape in terms of their finances, but also that the people working at these sites feel better about the work that they're doing. Right now, most of these sites are working around the clock, dragging themselves out, ragged, trying to do the work of reporting and running a site. So I'd like sustainability to mean a couple things: longevity of the people and longevity of the site. And I think we would know that by seeing different revenue streams, not just ads, but also seeing an increase in the ads, because many of these sites are just getting off the ground. So part two, I think we'll see sites that are playing a different and more central role in their communities as conveners, as places where they're listening to the local community, where local issues are being discussed, either in person at events or on the site. And so that engagement we'll see will be much deeper at the end of 2 years. And then the last part, I think, we'll come out with a set of tools, research, and lessons that we can then extrapolate out to the nation at large. So we're working with Montclair State University and the CUNY School of Entrepreneurial Journalism to do both develop some in-depth trainings that can be replicated, but also some in-depth research on things like audience wants and needs around the news, around sales strategies, sales products, a whole bunch of things that relate to both community engagement and sustainability. So having those tools created and then getting them out to the nation at large for other news organizations to use, I think is another way we'll model success.